Captain on the bridge.
Alright, Captains, we are back on the bridge, and today, yes, we will be discussing our favorite moments from the previous episode of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 4, No Win Scenario. But before we do, Captains, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge, as we are always on the lookout for like-minded Captains where we can share our love and our passion for Star Trek. Having said that, here we go. Captains, you know we just did a review there of this episode there last week, and I have to say it is still pretty much up there, and I can still say as of this video, I'm still on a pretty much a high still, because in doing these, I get to watch the episode 2, 3, 4 times. I've watched it more than 5 times because of the feels, 100% because of the feels. So I've been enjoying this season so far. I have not kept that a secret. The scores that I've been giving it have been pretty much all across 10s across the board. But the thing that we've been doing differently this time with these reviews is doing videos like these, where we go over our favorite moments. So what we're going to do is go over them, of course, drop our 2 ECs, then at the end, give our conclusion. So again, this is just going to be showing off our favorite parts, and it could be totally different from yours, Captain, and that's okay. The first one up here, I have to say, where I got the feels here, is kind of this feeling of going back to the mission statement of Star Trek. So this is from pretty much the end of the episode, where the Titan had already escaped the nebula. They got their power restored, and the nebula actually did change, and what it was essentially was it was an entity that was giving birth, a life form, and it actually gave birth to these little things, whatever they are. And I love how when the crew was looking at this, it was a sense of like just wonderment, and I felt that too. And in this moment, I was actually saying to seek out new life. I just felt that feeling when I was a kid watching Star Trek all over again. And you really got the sense of that, and this is of course the image that we're going to use for our thumbnail, because yeah, it's it has to be one of my favorite moments of this episode. And then literally after thinking that seconds, what happens? Beverly actually says it, to seek out new life. And it just really was a very Star Trek feeling moment. And that's the only way I can kind of describe this moment. But again, you saw the crew just again looking at this, and then you saw the shot of the Titan, but the life forms outside it. The very thing that was about to kill them was something that was a life form, and that they were able to use it and escape. So this has to be just, again, one of the greatest moments so far. And then to have Beverly say it too as well, it's just, I don't know. Most of you Captains know that I cover content on Star Trek Online as well. And recently she actually has done voiceover work. So I'm on a Beverly Crusher high, to be honest. But her saying that, definitely after I thought it, had to be one of our favorite moments of this episode. We do actually have 4. This was the 4th one, and we're gonna go rank them, and like I said, this is the 4th one. Next up, this was kind of hard to rank, Captains, to be honest with you, because it's been a up and down relationship. On the way up though, and of course it's Captain Liam Shaw's performance in this episode. He I mentioned this already in the reviews that we did. He's gone to "I don't like you" to "Please don't die on us." And it seems like this episode added to that, to the point of me even going, please, let's have another series of Star Trek and him at the helm. That is exactly it. Now, having said that, we saw the trailer of the next episode coming up, and that might change, but that's okay, because I think that speaks to the actor himself, Todd, and just the way that he fills the screen. But his character here is progressing, and this this scene was hilarious. Seven was trying to get in his quarters, and He's like, don't come, don't come. He's like, so he's had these moments there, and he's just doing such a good job, a great job of really just filling the screen with his presence, in my opinion, and standing up really to the legacy characters. I've mentioned that before. And, you know, him being a new entry to the series, I was a little bit hesitant. Like I said, the first episode, the thing I don't like you, to now, like, please don't die on us, to now I want a show headed by Captain Liam. But his whole, all the scenes here that he was in was filled. This is where when Seven actually left the room there when they were talking about the changeling, and he said, whatever. Like, he doesn't, sometimes he doesn't have to say much, but, you know, he's there. Now, this scene, when he was at the bar explaining why he is the way to Picard, and it really got to me. It was really well done, really well acted, to the point where he was even shaking, like his facial expressions, the way he was telling his story, being very just kind of pricky, but also we're finding out why, because he was there, part of Wolf 359, and that's why he had this sort of hatred, I guess, towards Picard, because of course he even mentioned that Picard was even given a name by the Borg because he was the scariest one or something to that effect. And, you know, again, you just saw it, like here, he was actually tearing up, his hands were shaking, and the way that he was telling it was just beautifully done. I think he's really not happy there about it. But again, it just went to the whole point of more character growth to Captain Liam, and even though it's 4 episodes in, it really built his character up pretty quickly. And I feel like, and I just mentioned in the beginning of this video, I feel like we're gonna have an up and down relationship with Liam, because in the next episode he does something where I just feel like, just from the trailer alone, going, back to you, prick. you know. But again, still, one of the highlights of this episode definitely was, for me, was Liam. Now, albeit number 3, it was still a very impactful moment, I believe. And even here, when he was actually approached by Picard, this exchange between not only Picard but even Seven, when Picard came here, asked for his help because of the engine, of course, Seven helping him out, you know, that dynamic between the two, now it's out in the open. They're not trying to hide their feelings anymore about how they feel about each other, in terms of, and I'm not talking about like liking or even loving, but really they just don't like each other, especially Seven. She just was putting up a sort of false front there and trying to be all Starfleet in front of him, to the point where even she just accepted her name as Commander Hansen. So, and the whole, his time in the control room, it really showed his time as an engineer, and they pulled from that. I love how this episode did that, and really showed his experience, and I really did quite enjoy it. And him working along with Seven, like I mentioned, was really great. And, you know, this was the moment where the changeling actually came in as LaForge there. But again, everything was beautifully done here. And then, of course, he kind of put the icing on the cake here, because he also was helping the Titan escape. Of course he's going to help. He's a captain. He was just, you know, he just got hurt. But when he said he was back in business, you can tell he was with the crew here. And again, he's probably going to yank me the other way direction the next episode, but that's fine. I think that's speaking, again, to the acting ability of the actor himself, but also the character and how attached I am already to him. So I'm saying it right now again, I want a show with Liam here, to the point where, you know, he's going to be a captain of the Titan in a new series. I definitely would be up for that. I definitely would love to see him, and maybe Seven. I'm not sure how they're going to sort of go and do that, but maybe Seven deserves her own show. But I want a spin-off, 100%, point blank. I want a spin-off of Picard to be a Titan. So again, I hope it happens. I'm not sure where it is, because if you really think about it, it actually did happen, in a sense where, from Star Trek Discovery, we got Star Trek Strange New World. So who knows? And we'll touch on that back at the end of the video, captains, but we'll move on here. And that, again, this one was my third favorite moment. It was really hard to choose it with this moment and the next one being anything that had to do with the Titan. The beginning and the middle of the episode was really obviously all done on the ship, but there's nothing really to show because the ship was at a dead standstill. But once it got going, my goodness, the respect, and I've always said this, that they have been doing a great job in treating the ships, the Titan, as its own character and really letting it shine. So again, I will not ever stop doing this. So huge shout out to our friend Bill Krause here, who has been on the channel, and we've done an interview with him, and we will do so again, captains, but we'll save that for another video. But again, Star Trek Picard giving the Titan its time to shine was just awesome. And then, of course, this was the sequence of it starting up again from all the systems being kind of shut off there. But again, it just really, okay, I did include some moments here that I thought still, because this whole sequence here really did it. And of course, this is when Riker gave Picard the con, but he did the pull shirt thing. I mentioned this in the review. He just had to do it because he knows it's a meme. So that was awesome that they can poke fun at things here and there. But this was about the whole sequence. Of course, he says engage there to LaForge because they're getting ready to go out. And then, of course, we see the Titan just really gearing up there and getting and flying away from the center of it. And this also showed the whole sequence of what they had to do. So of course, mentioned Liam was the one that needed to help to get these sort of covers opened so that they can draw power from the shock waves to again restart and give energy back into the Titan. So this whole sequence, them doing this, like the attention to details was so well done. Accompanied by this whole sequence was the music, the feeling of relief too when they actually started powering up. That it was just well done. Everything just came beautifully. And again, there was a Titan just kind of avoiding asteroids there. But in this sequence here, when the shockwave actually did hit and they rode the wave, and then we saw the waves, the nacelles kind of taking in that power down directly to the warp. The music, the relief, the look of the crew there, they had like a sigh of release, a breath of relief. It was just really well done. And then again, the whole sequence giving respect. I did love when Picard said gun it. That's just the LaForge gun it. That has to be now one of my favorite lines so far in this season, these episodes. But if you look at it again, they just did it right. It felt like, again, I was on the edge of my seat, and it really felt like this was their last chance to get this right, or all ends and the season ends. Well, of course that wasn't going to happen, but still, regardless, this was just a great moment. And then this sequence, coming up next, this has to be called the Riker Maneuver 2, because, or I don't know what he's going to call it, but it was revenge. It was revenge. So they were getting out of the nebula. Of course, the Shrike was there waiting for them, or they found them. And Riker asks if their tractor beam is operational, and he grabs an asteroid, tows it behind the Titan, like so, and gets revenge by literally throwing an asteroid to the Shrike. Yes! It felt good, because it literally felt like it was payback for the Shrike throwing the Helios to the Titan there in the beginning episodes there. So I thought that was really awesome of him doing that. And the only issue I had with this though is that asteroid was literally thrown at them and nothing broke off. I guess the shields were that strong, because when the Helios was thrown to the Titan, they actually did have structural damage. And this was actually thrown at a sort of at a fixture that looked like it could break off easily. Essentially, there was points there, but it is what it is. The shields, I guess, held up. But again, a great, awesome sequence. And then Bev asks, "Did you just throw a asteroid?" And yeah, Will's like, "Yep, dang right I did." This whole sequence was just awesome. And again, the respect and love to the Titan was given, and it was given its time to shine. That whole, from beginning to end, and them escaping also was just great. And then of course here's a shot of just the Titan just at warp there. So that has to be my sort of second favorite moment there in this episode. And then of course, this takes us to our last portion here, which brings us to Riker himself. This whole sequence with Riker, whenever with his scenes on, he was just great. So this started all off there when he was telling Picard their situation, and you felt his grief, talking about burying his son. And myself, I am a father, and I felt that. So that of course speaks to the actor, right? And Riker, of course, is one of my favorite characters. Of course, I grew up with TNG, and the way he delivered that line, I felt it. And I always say it's about the feels, and he definitely made it about the feels when it came to him talking about him burying his son in the infinite darkness, and knowing that they've been to the edges of space and there's nothing, so there was, and we get the reasoning of why he was running away, because he was feeling nothing, and Deanna could just not bear living with someone that she just could not feel nothing. So he was running away from that, and then he says only to find it again. So his sequences here, when he was shown there, was just done very well, acted well. Even this recording, was trying to make a recording to Deanna, he just couldn't find the words. He didn't know what to say, because even at this point he was still even close to at that point kind of knowing that it's at the end, because he's recording this because he thinks that they're goners. He still couldn't find the words. So I thought that was really good, and the way that Riker made us, or at least made me feel how his position is in terms of his feeling right now. And again, just beautifully done. And when he said, and of course when he also says, "I think we should boldly get the hell out of here," again, just very, very good moments. But what really got me, my caps, was this sequence here with him and Deanna. I don't know, like I said, I watched it more than 5 times, and whenever I came to this sequence, I felt it. Him trying to explain to Deanna what he witnessed, and then of course him reflecting on their relationship, and he couldn't even find the words to explain it, but when he, that exchange with her was just so well done. And he does apologize, he apologizes to Deanna, and this is the first time we actually see a present day Deanna, because the other episode there was just a past recording of her. But this top moment here has to go to Riker, because when he said, "It's on me," oh my god, whew, even just talking about it, I felt it. And again, like I said, being as a father and having to admit really when you're wrong, but sometimes you really can't find the words, but him realizing it and the way he portrayed it, I really did feel it, Caps. And this has to be my favorite moment in this episode, when I like I said, I shed a tear. I really did, because I felt that it was such a genuine performance, that he was in the moment. And again, it could be nostalgia carrying me, sure, but I think it goes to show how invested I was in the whole episode from beginning to end, because from the beginning it felt like just a plummet down where they're going to an end, and then all of a sudden it escalates up to them escaping. Then it's a nebula with life, and all of a sudden this was kind of the soft bow at the very end of the episode, where it just tugged my heartstrings. It really did. And that's why I gave the score that I did, which was a 10 out of 10, even though I had some issues with it, very little. Regardless, the feels carried it through for me, from the new life, the Titan, Liam, and then Riker. I'd have to say those were my favorite moments from this episode. So I thought I'd share this, captains, because with us doing this reviews and this us delving into more of our favorite scenes of the episodes, it just makes us feel closer to the series, because I have been enjoying it, and I know a lot of my fellow captains that are with us nightly also do as well. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. It's doing right now so far. We're 4 episodes in. So far, it's doing us really good in terms of servicing us, the fans. And yeah, that's what it's doing. It's servicing us. I have no shame in accepting all the nostalgia nuggets that they're giving, and I'll take it, and I hope that this carries on. Now, having said that, we're going to be coming to the 5th episode here, and I'm feeling kind of sad because there is still yet so many things to be revealed from. We're still going to see, still haven't seen Geordi, probably going to see him in the next episode. Haven't seen Lore, Moriarty, and then that's like 3 items. And then what of the plot, right? It just feels like there's so much things more to explore, but we know that this is a 10 episodes, so they're really cramming it into these 10 episodes. But I mentioned before in the reviews, they've been really pacing it very well, in my opinion, and this episode was done beautifully, in my opinion, as well. So, captains, that again, those are my favorite moments. I keep ranting on about it, but again, this is why we do what we do here on the bridge, is share our love, and like I said, our passion for Star Trek and for this series. I never got into seasons 1 and 2, and that's okay, but this last season, wow, I'm just invested 100% to the point where, yeah, it's taken me for a ride, and I'm here for it. Now, the last thing that we'll cover here, captains, which I thought was really cool, and a shout out to our fellow captain there, Raj. Now, I did mention that we are loving and hating, liking, disliking Liam, Captain Liam. So he showed us something to a link that I'm going to share in this video, which I will also share in the description below. There is an actual petition going on at this point where they want to, this is a plea to not only to the fans of Star Trek Picard, but to the bigger wigs. They want to continue boldly making a new Star Trek Picard spin-off show with Terry Matalas at the helm. I 100% agree. Now, at 75,000 signatures, this petition is more likely to get a reaction from the decision maker. Right now, as of this video, is at 6,763. So, captains, if you have been enjoying this as much as I have, please sign it. Even if we don't get to it, you know what? It's showing that this is the Trek that we want to see. At least the like-minded captains that are here with me. And at this point, for Star Trek Picard spin-off series with the Titan, and I want it to be the Titan, okay? The Titan. I know they're just showing the ship here, but I want it to be the Titan with Captain Liam. 7 would be great, but I feel like 7 could just have her own little thing, her own little command. So I invite all my fellow captains here who have been with us and enjoying the series to sign up for this, because we definitely will. Before this season ends, we're gonna definitely sign this. I'm gonna leave this description below, captains, for you to sign. But again, it is just a part of our sort of investment in what they've been doing for Star Trek Picard, which again, I'll just give it right now. It's just flat out 10 out of 10 at this point, from all the episodes so far, and we're getting into the 5th season, or the 5th episode here in the next day or two. So look out. Also, of course, we're gonna do our review of that. So, captains, that's gonna be the video. I ranted on long enough. I've babbled about how much I love this so far, especially in this video, our favorite moments. So like the video, comment below, let us know what you thought of this episode. Let us know what your favorite moment of this episode was. And of course, Captain, subscribe here to the YouTube Bridge, and we're gonna leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.